Portugal is often viewed as an ideal place to start anew, offering stunning natural landscapes and a laid-back lifestyle. However, today I'm going to show you a side of Portugal that most people don't know about. If you're dreaming of living in this beautiful country, this video is a must-watch. Stick with me as we uncover some of the real challenges you may face, from rising living expenses to cultural differences. Don't forget to subscribe to Eagle Discovery for more thought-provoking content like this. The cost of living, a wake-up call. Let's take a closer look at the cost of living. Portugal is frequently regarded as a dream destination, praised for its picturesque landscapes, rich culture, and pleasant climate. Many foreigners imagine a life filled with comfort and relaxation in this beautiful country. But the reality can be quite different, especially for those moving here with high expectations of an easy life. Although Portugal has many benefits, it is often idealized, and many newcomers are disappointed when they find themselves struggling to make ends meet. It's easy to romanticize living abroad, particularly when comparing it to life back home. The thought of residing in Europe, in a country with such a deep cultural and historical background, often feels like a step up. But when you compare Portugal to other Western European nations, certain challenges become evident, particularly when it comes to the cost of living and average wages. One major issue is the gap between the cost of living and the wages that many locals and immigrants earn. Let's walk through the details. Hey there, where are you tuning in from? Drop a comment to let us know your city so we don't feel lonely. A simple action like this motivates us to create more videos. Thanks for your support, and much love to all of you. Imagine arriving in Portugal with hopes of a better life in Europe. Perhaps you don't have an advanced degree or years of professional experience, but you're optimistic that informal or entry-level jobs will be sufficient to get by. You might even think that once you're settled, you'll eventually land a more stable or higher-paying job. You find a place to rent, and the cost seems manageable. Soon, I'll be earning enough to live comfortably, you think. However, the reality quickly becomes clear. Salaries in Portugal are considerably lower than in other Western European countries, like Spain, France, Germany, or the UK. On average, salaries in Portugal hover around €1,000 per month, which is much less compared to neighboring countries. Even in Lisbon, where wages are a bit higher, it can still be difficult to cover basic expenses. Many immigrants take on informal jobs initially, but these roles often pay less than expected. Jobs in sectors like hospitality, retail, and domestic work may pay minimum wage or slightly more, but the cost of living doesn't align with these wages. Now, let's talk about housing. This is where most newcomers face their biggest shock. In recent years, Portugal's real estate market, particularly in cities like Lisbon and Porto, has seen a sharp rise in rent prices. In fact, Lisbon is now one of the most expensive cities in Europe when it comes to rental increases, largely driven by the influx of tourists and the popularity of short-term rental platforms such as Airbnb. A typical one-bedroom apartment in Lisbon's city center can cost anywhere from €600 to €1,200 per month. In Porto, the rent is also climbing, though it tends to be slightly more affordable. For many new arrivals, finding an apartment within their budget is extremely difficult. Often sharing an apartment with several people is necessary to make it work, which is not what many immigrants envisioned. If you decide to rent on your own, a large portion of your already modest income will go toward paying rent, leaving little room for other expenses. Basic utilities, internet, and other living costs add to the financial strain. Even worse, rent prices are expected to keep rising, making it even harder for residents to find affordable housing. Food and other essential services can also feel surprisingly costly. While groceries in Portugal are generally affordable, especially for local produce like fresh fruits and vegetables, imported goods and specialty items can drive up your monthly expenses. If you're used to certain international products, such as imported meats or cereals, You may find yourself spending more than anticipated. The euro's value compared to weaker currencies like the Brazilian real or the US dollar can make it feel like you're paying more than you'd expect, especially if you're coming from a country with a lower exchange rate. Although public transportation in Portugal is reasonably priced, the cost of getting around can still add up, especially for those commuting regularly. For instance, a bus or metro ticket in Lisbon costs around €1.50, and while that may seem inexpensive, it can quickly add up if you're using it every day. The job market, not as simple as it seems. Many people come to Portugal with high hopes of finding plenty of job openings and quickly securing a steady income. However, the reality of the job market is often more challenging, particularly for those unfamiliar with local practices and conditions. Although Portugal may seem like a place where jobs are easy to come by, the competition is intense, especially in certain industries. Skilled sectors like technology, healthcare, and engineering are particularly competitive. Job seekers will often find themselves competing with locals and other immigrants who have already made their mark in the market. Additionally, many employers prioritize candidates who are fluent in Portuguese and have experience within the local context, making it harder for newcomers to find a good match. Even in industries such as tourism and hospitality, which attract many immigrants, the situation can still be tough. These sectors may have more job openings, but they often come with lower wages and little job security. Many positions, particularly in retail and customer service, offer poor pay, long hours, and short-term contracts, leaving workers uncertain about their future prospects. Job insecurity is a widespread concern in Portugal's workforce. Many individuals, including newcomers, find themselves stuck in temporary or part-time roles with little to no benefits. This instability can be particularly difficult for immigrants looking to establish a stable life in Portugal. If you're new to our channel, Eagle Discovery extends a warm welcome. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming content. Another common issue faced by many immigrants is underemployment. Many highly qualified professionals end up working in jobs that don't match their skills, simply to make ends meet. This situation can be frustrating, as individuals find themselves in lower-paying roles that don't align with their qualifications. For those seeking long-term career growth and job security, Portugal might not be the ideal place to settle. While certain sectors are improving, the overall job market remains highly competitive and often lacks stability. Newcomers must manage their expectations and be prepared for a job market that can be tougher than it first appears. In conclusion, while there are certainly job opportunities in Portugal, particularly in fields like technology and tourism, the competition is fierce. Many workers face low wages, poor working conditions, and job insecurity. Those who are flexible, patient, and willing to adapt may find success, but landing a stable, well-paid job is often more difficult than anticipated. Bureaucracy, an overlooked obstacle. One of the biggest challenges newcomers face in Portugal is the bureaucracy. Despite its small size, Portugal's bureaucratic system is often slow, complicated, and filled with obstacles. What might seem like an exciting new chapter often turns into a frustrating series of bureaucratic steps. For many immigrants, the idea of moving to Portugal seems promising at first, but they soon realize just how overwhelming the system can be. A process that seems simple at first, such as filling out a form or submitting documents, quickly escalates into a drawn-out and complex experience. Navigating through the legal requirements to live and work here involves endless forms, long waiting periods, and a system that can feel stuck in the past. For example, after your arrival, you may find yourself waiting in a public office for hours, only to learn that essential documents are missing, documents you weren't even informed about. This is especially common when applying for residency permits, which require multiple forms of verification that newcomers are often unaware of. Many people new to Portugal report feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of paperwork and the unexpected requirements. The process of scheduling appointments for essential tasks like residency permits, registering for national health insurance, or obtaining a social security number can take several months, sometimes over 6 months depending on the region. This waiting period can be especially frustrating for those eager to settle into their new life. In rural areas, delays are even more common due to fewer available services and offices. Even tasks that might seem simple, such as opening a bank account, can become drawn-out affairs. Banks in Portugal often require specific documents like proof of address, which may only be available after you've lived in the country for a few months, employment contracts, and other official paperwork. These requirements can feel excessive, especially when compared to similar procedures in other European countries. The delays aren't just about waiting in line, they can also involve multiple exchanges of paperwork. For instance, when applying for a residency card, you might submit all the required documents online, only to later receive a letter asking for clarification or additional documents that were not mentioned in the original instructions. This can create further delays and frustration. For non-EU residents, the situation can be even more complicated. They may be required to provide additional evidence of income or undergo background checks, which can take time to process in their home countries. This adds another layer of complexity to an already slow system. On top of that, many public services in Portugal operate with limited hours or staff, which makes it even more difficult to complete tasks on time. If you need an appointment at the tax office or Social Security office, expect to wait several weeks for an available slot. In conclusion, the bureaucratic system in Portugal can be one of the most significant challenges for newcomers. While it's necessary to follow the official procedures to settle into life here, the process can be slow, tedious, and filled with unexpected delays. Patience is key, as is ensuring all necessary paperwork is in order from the start. Although the amount of time and effort involved can seem excessive, it is a reality that anyone planning to live in Portugal must face. The healthcare system, an unexpected challenge. Portugal's healthcare system, known as the Serviço Nacional de Saúde, SNS, is often seen as a major draw for newcomers due to its universal coverage. Many people imagine it as a fast and affordable option for medical care. However, the reality can be quite different from what many expect. One of the biggest issues with the Portuguese public healthcare system is the long waiting times. Whether you're seeking a routine appointment or a specialist consultation, you may face long delays. In some cases, patients wait months before being seen, even for non-urgent medical needs. This can be particularly frustrating if you're dealing with health concerns that require timely attention. Rural areas, which have fewer healthcare facilities, often experience even longer waiting times. This can make it harder to access the care you need when you need it most. For those who are used to healthcare systems that offer faster and more efficient services, such long waiting periods can come as a shock. Residents often express frustration online, sharing their stories of long waits and delayed treatments. While many people in Portugal are accustomed to this, newcomers may struggle to adjust to the slower pace, especially if they are used to more immediate care from their home countries. An alternative to the public system is private healthcare. Those who can afford it often turn to private clinics and hospitals to avoid the long wait times of the public system. Private healthcare offers the advantage of faster appointments and specialized care, which can be a significant relief. However, this comes at a steep price. Private health insurance or out-of-pocket payments for medical services can add up quickly. For many, this becomes a financial burden, especially when they initially expect healthcare to be more affordable in Portugal. The high cost of private healthcare can force people into a difficult situation, either wait months for public care or pay significantly more for private treatment. This stark contrast between the two systems can be a source of frustration for newcomers who may have come to Portugal with expectations of an efficient, low-cost healthcare system. In conclusion, while Portugal's public healthcare system provides universal coverage, it comes with significant drawbacks, including long waiting times and delays in treatment. While private healthcare offers faster services, it is often out of reach for many due to its high costs. Those moving to Portugal should be prepared for the challenges posed by the healthcare system and understand that access to timely and affordable care may not be as easy as they initially expect. Patience and careful planning are key when navigating Portugal's healthcare options. Cultural adaptation more than just a minor detail. Adapting to a new culture can be a significant challenge for those relocating to Portugal. While the slower pace of life might seem appealing at first glance, it can come with its own set of frustrations. What many see as a relaxed, peaceful lifestyle can sometimes amplify the feeling of time moving slowly, particularly when combined with Portugal's bureaucratic inefficiencies. Simple tasks that would take only minutes elsewhere may take much longer here, leaving newcomers feeling unexpectedly impatient. Another challenge newcomers often face is the feeling of not fully fitting in. While Portuguese people are generally friendly and polite, there can still be an underlying cultural divide that makes integration difficult, especially for those coming from cultures with faster-paced or more direct communication styles. Social interactions in Portugal tend to be more formal and reserved, which may seem distant or unfamiliar to those used to a more laid-back or open environment. Making friends and building a social network can take more time than expected. Though the Portuguese are friendly, it can take effort to form close, trusting relationships. Casual interactions are common, but cultivating deep, lasting bonds requires patience, especially when a language barrier is involved. Mastering the Portuguese language is a significant advantage, and many newcomers quickly realize that speaking the language is crucial for truly connecting with the local culture. Additionally, there are customs and behaviors in Portugal that might differ greatly from what you're accustomed to. Elements like punctuality, personal space, and communication styles can vary, and adjusting to these differences may take some time. What may seem like minor aspects of daily life, such as how to greet someone, how to interact in social settings, or how to conduct oneself in professional environments, can feel daunting for newcomers trying to navigate these unfamiliar situations. In summary, while Portugal's slower pace of life can seem like a refreshing change, it can also pose challenges when coupled with bureaucratic delays and cultural differences. For many, truly feeling at home in Portugal demands patience, effort, and a willingness to understand and embrace the country's unique social norms and customs. Portugal is a beautiful country with a lot to offer, but it's important to be aware of the challenges of living there. If you're considering making the move, take the time to research and understand the country's way of life before making any big decisions. This video shares real experiences and stories that often go unspoken, but are crucial to know before moving forward. If you're interested in learning more about Portugal or other destinations, be sure to check out the next video on your screen. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.